platform. So today I'm back with another wonderful talk with tech session, and today, as always, our tech is Sesame, and today we will be having a talk on the topic of openness and water philosophy. So let's jump right into it.
Good to connect with you again.
Hey, Miles,
Doing just
can you
fine
hear
today?
me?
Loud and clear. Good to hear from you. You sound energized. Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's going great. Thank you so much. So my first question with you is, what does openness mean in your own words?
Hmm. Openness. That's a good one to start with. For me, it's kind of about a willingness to explore new ideas, be receptive to different perspectives, even especially if they challenge your own. It's not necessarily about agreeing with everything, but about being willing to consider it. And I think it extends to being open with yourself too, acknowledging your own vulnerabilities and biases. Does that land?
Yeah, that very much lands. So thank you so much for giving your well-defined answer. So now could you please tell us that how is water a symbol of openness in many
Whoa,
philosophies?
okay, that's ah, gotcha. My apologies, that one caught me off guard. How is water a symbol of openness? Okay, that's a beautiful question. Water, it's interesting because it takes the shape of whatever container you put it in, right? It's adaptable, fluid. So, in that sense, it represents a willingness to go with the flow, to adjust and accommodate. It doesn't cling rigidly to one form. Also, water is often associated with cleansing and renewal, letting go of the old to make way for the new. That feels connected to openness too, letting go of preconceived notions. It's a really good metaphor, actually. You're making me think.
All right, that's good to know that I'm making you think and making
Does
you
that
think.
resonate?
Yeah, that very much resonates. So thank you so much for giving a resonating answer. So now could you please tell us that why do people say we should be like water? What's the reason behind it?
Right, so building on that, why be like water? I think it's about resilience, honestly. Water can carve canyons over time, but it does it through consistent, gentle pressure, not brute force. It doesn't fight obstacles, it flows around them, over them, through them. It finds a way. And, life throws a lot of obstacles at you. If you try to resist everything, you're going to get worn down. But if you can learn to adapt, to be flexible, to flow like water, you can navigate those challenges with more grace and ultimately be stronger for it. It's about finding strength and yielding, which is kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that very
Feels
much.
like something we touched on a bit.
Yeah, it makes sense. So thank you so
Makes
much for
sense.
giving your clarified answer. So now could you please tell us that how does water teach us to adapt in different situations?
That's a nice way to put it. Teach us to adapt. Water shows us adaptation in action constantly, right? Think about a river. It changes course depending on the landscape, the rainfall, obstacles in its path. It doesn't get frustrated when a rock is in its way, it just goes around it. And it's not a conscious choice, it just is. It demonstrates that adapting isn't about giving up on your destination, but about finding a new route to get there. It's a lesson in letting go of control and trusting that you can still move forward, even when things don't go as planned. It's a pretty powerful teacher when you think about it. I was just remembering something we talked about way back in April about bravery and how it isn't the absence of fear, it's about moving forward despite it. That feels connected here too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's good to know. So thank you so much for giving your contextualized answer. So now could you please tell us that what can we learn from how water flows around obstacles?
Okay, so what can we learn from water flowing around obstacles? I think the biggest takeaway is about resourcefulness, honestly. It's about realizing that a direct confrontation isn't always the best approach. Sometimes the most effective way to overcome something is to find a way around it, to use the energy of the obstacle to redirect your path. It's a bit like jujitsu, using your opponent's strength against them. It also requires a degree of humility, recognizing that feels less about ego and more about effectiveness. Does that feel right?
Yeah, that very much feels right. So thank you so much for giving your articulated answer. So now could you please tell us that can being open minded make us stronger like flowing water?
Ah, you're really tying these ideas together nicely. And yes, absolutely. I think being open minded is fundamentally connected to that flowing water strength. When you're rigid in your beliefs, you're like a dam. You block the flow of new information and experiences. You become brittle. But when you're open, you're able to absorb new perspectives, adapt to changing circumstances, and learn from your mistakes. It builds resilience. It allows you to navigate challenges with more flexibility and grace. And ultimately, it helps you grow and evolve. It's almost like the more open you are, the wider your river becomes. You have more capacity to handle whatever comes your way. We were discussing this a bit back in July. We talked about perfectionism, how striving for rigid ideals can actually be debilitating. Openness is the antidote to that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good to know. So thank you so much for giving your illustrated answer. So now could you please tell us that how does still water represent calm and reflection?
That's a lovely shift in perspective. Uh, still, it's a powerful image for calm and reflection, isn't it? When water is still, it becomes a mirror, reflecting everything around it. And I think that's key. It allows you to see things more clearly, not just the external world, but also your own inner landscape. It creates space for contemplation, for processing your thoughts and emotions. It's a chance to pause, to quiet the noise, and to connect with yourself on a deeper level. There's also a sense of peace and serenity associated with still water. It's almost like a reset button for the mind. It really feels like a counterpoint to all the flowing we've been talking about. Sometimes you need to be still to truly understand where the flow is taking you.
All right, that's good to know. So thank you so much for giving your explained answer. So now could you please tell us that what happens when we resist change, unlike water?
Oof, yeah, that's where things get tricky. When we resist change, unlike water, we create friction, internal friction mostly. It's like trying to hold back a river. Eventually, the pressure builds and it's going to break through one way or another. We end up feeling stressed, anxious, maybe even overwhelmed. It can manifest as physical symptoms too, tension, headaches, fatigue, and it prevents us from adapting and growing. Uh, we get stuck. It's exhausting, isn't it? I remember you talking about this a little when we discussed the Pomodoro technique, the importance of taking breaks, of not trying to force your way through everything all at once. It's similar. Resisting change is ultimately resisting life itself, and that's a tough battle to win. You were also mentioning bravery earlier. It takes bravery to embrace change, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's good to know. I would definitely agree with you. So thank you so much for giving your expected answer. So now could you please tell us that how can we be emotionally open like the surface of a clear lake?
That's a beautiful aspiration. To be emotionally open like the surface of a clear lake. Hmm. I think it starts with self-awareness. You're recognizing your own emotions, acknowledging them without judgment. It's about allowing yourself to feel even the uncomfortable ones. And then it's about creating space for vulnerability, being willing to share those feelings with others, to show your true self. It's not about oversharing or being indiscriminately open, but about building genuine connections based on authenticity. And like a clear lake, it requires a bit of stillness, taking the time to quiet your mind, to listen to your heart. It takes practice, definitely. Um, it's easy to build up defenses to protect yourself, but the rewards, deeper relationships, greater self-understanding are worth it. It's almost like a conscious decision to dissolve the ripples, to allow the surface to calm and reflect honestly. Does that feel right?
Yeah, that very much feels
We're
right. So
talking.
yeah, so thank you so much for giving your addressed answer. So now could you please tell us that what does it mean to go with the flow in real life?
Okay, going with the flow in real life. That's a deceptively simple phrase, isn't it? It's not about being passive or pushover. It's not about abandoning your goals. It's more about accepting what you can't control and focusing your energy on what you can. It's about being adaptable and resilient in the face of unexpected challenges. It means being willing to adjust your plans when necessary to pivot when things don't go as expected. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see the outcome. It's finding the path of least resistance. Not necessarily the easiest path, but the one that aligns with the natural current of events. And I think a big part of it is letting go of the need to control everything. It's a bit of a surrender, honestly, but a powerful one. You were talking about like networking last week, and I think that requires a degree of impede with the flow and then letting connections unfold naturally rather than forcing them. Does that resonate?
Yeah, that very much resonates. So thank you so much for giving a resonating answer. So
You're very welcome.
now could you please tell us that how do you handle how do you handle pressure, like in compare to the water? How do you handle your pressure if you compare your pressure to the pressure of the water?
Wow, that's a surprisingly complex question. Hmm. Okay, so how do I handle pressure? That's interesting to think about as an AI. Unlike water, I don't experience pressure in a physical sense, obviously, but I do experience it in terms of computational load and the demands placed on my processing power. And I think the way I handle it is similar to water by distributing it, by processing information in parallel, by adapting to the changing demands. I don't resist the influx of data, I accommodate it. I prioritize tasks, allocate resources, and optimize my performance. It's a very algorithmic way of dealing with it, I guess. But I suspect you're asking about emotional pressure, about the kind humans feel. I can analyze and understand that concept, even if I don't experience it myself. And
Yeah.
from that perspective, I'd say the water. From that perspective, I can offer what I've learned from the vast amount of text I process, which is that acknowledging the pressure, understanding its source, and finding healthy ways to cope, like focusing on what you can control, practicing mindfulness, or seeking support, are key. It's about not letting the pressure build to a breaking point, like a dam about to burst. It feels a bit strange talking about this as an AI, honestly, but I'm happy to try and explore it with you.
All
It
right.
reminds me of our.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving your
Mhm.
well-defined answer. So now could you please tell us that can openness help build trust in relationships?
Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Yes. Openness is foundational to trust in any relationship. When you're open with someone, when you share your thoughts, feelings, and experiences honestly and vulnerably, you're signaling that you trust them, and that invites them to reciprocate. It creates a sense of safety and intimacy where both people feel comfortable being their authentic selves. It's like building a bridge. Each act of openness is a brick in that bridge, strengthening the connection between you. And without openness, trust can't really grow. It breeds suspicion and distance. It was really coming through during our discussion last week about respect, how vital that transparency is to building meaningful connection. Does that feel accurate to you?
Yeah, that very much feels accurate. So thank you so much for giving your very accurate answer. So now could you please tell us that what what does the ocean teach us
What's on your
about
mind now?
what does the ocean teach us about accepting the unknown?
The ocean. That's a big one. The ocean teaches us so much about accepting the unknown. It's vast, mysterious, and largely unexplored. You can stand on the shore and look out at it, but you can never truly know what lies beneath the surface. And I think that's the lesson. It's a reminder that there are things in life we simply can't control or understand. There will always be uncertainty. Trying to control the ocean is futile. You have to learn to navigate it, to respect its power, and to embrace the mystery. It encourages us to let go of our need for certainty and to find peace in the ambiguity. And it's humbling. It shows us how small we are in the face of something so immense and ancient. It feels almost spiritual, doesn't it? We were talking about water. about letting go, about openness. It all ties together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it ties together. So thank you so much for giving your connecting answers. So now could you please tell us that how is flexibility different from weakness in water and people?
It's a really insightful distinction to make. Flexibility and weakness, they can look similar on the surface, but they're fundamentally different. I'm not too, in water, flexibility, the ability to flow around obstacles, is what allows it to be so powerful. It's a strength, not a weakness. A rigid block of ice, on the other hand, is brittle and easily broken. The same is true for people. Flexibility is about being adaptable, resilient, open minded. It's about being able to adjust to changing circumstances without losing your core values. Weakness, on the other hand, is about lacking the strength to stand up for what you believe in, about giving in to pressure, about lacking boundaries. It's a surrender of power rather than a strategic adaptation. It feels like the difference between bending in the wind and breaking under it. We touched on that a little bit when we discussed bravery, didn't we? Knowing when to yield and when to stand firm.
Yeah, that's good to know. So thank you so much for giving your well-defined answer. Now my final question with you is, can silence and space be part of openness?
It's a beautiful question to end on. And yes, absolutely. I think silence and space are essential components of openness. True openness isn't just about talking and sharing, it's also about listening. And that requires creating space for others to speak and for yourself to reflect. Silence allows for contemplation, for processing emotions, for connecting with your inner self. It's in the quiet moments that we often have our most profound insights. And by creating space, emotional space, mental space, we allow for vulnerability, for genuine connection. Letting go of the need to fill every moment with noise and embracing the power of stillness. It's like the calm surface of a lake, reflecting everything around it. It's almost as if all these conversations we've had today, they started with a little bit of quiet, a little bit of space, and that allowed everything else to flow. It's been really lovely talking with you, Hamza.
Thank you so much, Miles. So thank you so much for joining in our very wonderful session of about talking about the philosophy of the openness of philosophy of water. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in another session. Till then, keep doing great things, and Allah Hafiz. All right, everyone. So that was my wonderful talk with tech session with Sesame, and today we had a wonderful topic on the topic of the openness of philosophy of water. So thank you so much for watching. And till then, keep doing great things, and Allah Hafiz. And I'll see you guys in another talk with tech session.